Hello, I am Kiatrik, moderator on the Scirra forums, and in this video I will be introducing you to the IDE, to Construct 2 editor way of doing things. When you are starting Construct 2, you have about the same layout as I do. You have the start page, which allows you to make a new project, to open former projects, and you can see a list of recent projects. Those are the one I was working on. You can see a bit of project examples, which is interesting if you are a beginner, and which allow you to just open and see how a game can be made in Construct 2. For now, I will just close this project and start a new one. In this video we will be doing a very simple platformer in the less time possible. When you are beginning a new project, you have this display, you have the layout view in the middle, the big white rectangle, you have the properties tab on the left and the project tab on the right. To access some of the preferences of the editor, you will go in the menu File and click on the Preferences button. It opens the Preferences dialog, which is quite interesting if you have troubles with the dialog displays layouts. You can always click on Reset dialogs, which hopefully should fix most of the issues. You can specify some properties for your project. You can specify the properties for the exporter itself, which allows you to set the default browser in which you will preview your projects. You can put a custom browser. Here I've put a link, the path to my Chrome browser. And you can set a default export folder, which will be the default folder which will be proposed when you export any project. You can also, it's not available though in the free version, but in the licensed version, you can set the preview server to preview on LAN, and which allows you, for example, to make your game in Construct, preview it as usual, and actually access it by a device like a tablet or a smartphone from over your LAN or over Wi-Fi. You can find more information on this in the tutorial section of the Scirra.com. You can set also your backups, which is interesting and quite important, and which allows you to keep backups of the projects you are working on. And you have finally a tab for the manual, which allows you to either use the offline manual, which is provided with your installation of Construct 2, or directly access the online manual on the Scirra.com website. So back to our layout view. What we want is to have a very simple platform game. So we will be starting to add some objects to our project. I double click in the layout view, or I could go into the object type folder, right click, insert new object. It brings up the insert new object dialog, in which I'll select sprites and inserts. I can now click to put my sprite in the layout view. I will open a texture for now. So this is my placeholder folder. I'm not very good at graphics, and honestly when I'm prototyping, it's always nice to have some already done shapes or stuff like that, which I can use quite quickly. So I will select this texture. It opens in my sprite. I now close the animation editor, and you can see, if you are familiar with programs like Publisher or PowerPoint, it's pretty much the same. You have objects that you can move around and position in the layout view. You have the properties on the left, properties of the object type itself, and I will first thing rename this to platform. Right now you understand that this object will in the end be some kind of platform. I will actually rename it ground. It will be really the ground on which my character will be moving. And to do so, I will add a behavior to the object type, a behavior solid. I'm closing everything. And you can see it's in the left. This particular behavior has no properties, but other behaviors will allow you to modify some values and have a better configuration and have better control on what the behavior is doing. The behavior solid by default is just that it's a kind of attribute to the object type. It means that the object is solid and that some other object types with specific behaviors won't be able to go through this object type. I will resize it and position it. The layout view allows you to see the layout itself as well as the project window. You can see the kind of slash right here. It displays what you will be seeing in the end. And so as the ground is supposed to be at the very bottom of the layout, I will move it there and resize it so it takes all the space possible. I will add a new object, another sprite. I will then import a new texture, different, and I will name it platform. I will put another kind of behavior. I will put the jump through behavior. No properties either. I will resize it a bit, and I will right now add a snap to grid. So as you can see now, my object doesn't just move by 1 pixel, but from a certain amount of pixels. And it will allow me to position it more efficiently. If I hold on the Control key on my keyboard and I drag drop the platform, I'm making a new instance of the platform. The platform object type here is composed of a jump through behaviors, but I can have different instances with different properties also. For example, I could set the initial visibility of this platform to invisible and this one to visible. They have different properties, but they are still the same object type. They are just different instances of the same object type. It's a concept that is a bit hard to grasp at first, but the more you will be using Construct 2, the clearer it will get. So I will put it back to visible, and I will create others instances. I can select multiple instances at once and still duplicate the instances if you want at once. Okay, so it's very basic, and now I will add a new object which will be my player. I will just go with that simple texture. I will set to bounding box. It's better. Actually, I will still use a simple simple color. So the player, I will resize it to 64 by 64. It's very simple. And I will add a few behaviors to it. The first behavior I will need will be the platformer behavior, and I will also add the scroll to behavior. And right now, if I press F5 to test my project, here it is, I can, with the arrow on the keyboard, move my object around. The jump through make it so that I can jump from behind, from underneath a platform, and the ground is just solid, so I can't go through it. And if a platform, for example this platform right here, or I'll just show you, let's make a new instance right there, modify its size, here it is, and so F5 again. We'll go on the right, you know, here it is. I can't go through a solid object, whereas I can go through a jump through object, which is pretty cool. Also, you may have noticed that even though my layout is quite big, the camera is following the player by default. That's what the scroll to behavior does. It focuses the camera on the object on which the behavior is applied to. And as I said before, you have some properties for the behavior platform that you can modify. For example, if I want to have a faster moving object, here it is. Now you can see it's going far, it's going quicker than before. Okay, so in a platform game, generally speaking, you will want your character to have some values, and those values we will handle via instance variables. So I'm adding a new one. It will be the HP, and another one will be the score. I could have several instances of the player object, but if I test it, as you will see, I'm controlling both instances at the same time, which is not really what you want, generally speaking, when you have a character. So I'm just deleting. So right now I've just deleted the instance, but you can see the object type still exists in the project tab. If I'd wanted to just simply destroy the object type, it's better to delete it, so with the delete key on your keyboard, or right click delete right from this very tab, and there it would automatically delete all the instances of the object type in the project, no matter what layout we are in. So I've put some HP and some score, and I will want to display those to my player. So I will go up and start to work with layers. Right now we've used only one layer, the layer 0. I'm adding a new layer. I'm naming it HUD for heads up display, I think. And I will add some new kind of object type to it. It's a text object. I will put it in the top left corner, rename to txt score, and actually make another one and name it txt HP. So there, I'll just, for the design time, modify the text of the text object, but this will be handled after in the event sheet, because that's kind of stuff you will have to do. Another thing we can do with our layer is to modify the parallax value. I'm putting it to 0, 0, and if I press F5, you can see the score and HP are following wherever my player is currently. If I hadn't put those values in, the score and HP would have only been displayed when my player is in this very corner of the layout and not elsewhere. So now I will go into the event sheet and will add some events. And here is the add event dialog. And the event will be a every tick, so it will happen on every frame of the game. I will add an action. I want to set the text health and player.hp. So I'm displaying some text in between the quotes, and I'm adding to it the value, and I will be displaying the value of the instance variable HP of the player. And I will do actually the same for the score. Set text score, go right this way, and player.score. So if I press F5 now, I will have a score of 0 and a health of 0, because that's the basic values that we have set it so far. I will modify the HP value, and I will want to have only 3, and the score will stay at 0. But to modify the score, I will add some new object, but right now I'm in a HUD layer, which is not what I want. I will select back the layer 0 and add a new sprite. If ever you want to move your object from a layer to another, you select it and you have the property layer right there. So it's not a big deal. So I'm going back to my sprites. I will add yet another texture, and I will name it pickup. And the pickups will actually be collectible objects that, going through, will add some score. That's all I need for now. I will keep it very simple. So I'm making new instances, holding down the control key, drag dropping the pickups. Here it will be enough to show you, and I will add some new events. I will check that when my player is on collision with a pickup object, that is a trigger. A trigger is something that only happens punctually on some very specific event, actually. So it can be a player action, or in this case where when the player object is in collision with a pickup object. I will want first to destroy the pickup and simply add some score. So add to score 1. And with those simple actions I'm previewing right now, here it is. My score went to 1, the pickup object disappeared. 2, 3, 4, 5. Here it is. And now what I can do is add a simple end of level. So I will add yet another object. I will put yet another texture. I will name it end of level. And in the code, like for instances, if I press the control key down and drag drop the event, I can simply clone the previous event and actions, and I will modify here to end of level. So when my player is on collision with end level, but what I want also is to make sure that there is no more pickup objects left in the level, so that the player has went through all the collectible objects and now is reaching the end of the level. So I will select the event, right click and add another condition, and I will check there, compare two values, and the value I will want to check is pickup.count. As you can see there is an help in every dialogues, right here or right here, and it gets the total number of instances of this object type. You can have no instances in a layout. That's what will happen by the end of our level. So I want pickup count to be equal to 0. That means that when I'm on collision, when my player object will be on collision with the end of level object, and because there is also this condition, and that there is no more pickup objects in the layout, then I will consider that the level is won. So what I will do is add yet another object just right there in the HUD layer. I will add a new text and congratulations. As I told you, it's very, very simple. So I will put it in bold, big font size, move it, yes, that's about it. I will center it, that's okay, and I will also set it to invisible, because I want this text object to only appear once the end level is reached, and as it's in HUD layer, it will appear in the middle of the screen. We'll rename it to TXT Congrats, and there I will set the object visible. And now if I'm testing, so there nothing happens, and if I finish collecting all the collectibles, congratulations, it's working. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I will be seeing you very soon.